Hello, everyone. Welcome to the first episode of SiteSell Presents. I'm your host, Mike Allton, and today we're talking about entrepreneurship. And I'm incredibly excited to be joined by three brilliant entrepreneurs. I'll introduce each, and then we'll get into some questions for the panel. But before I do, I'd like to remind all of you watching live that this is your big chance. If there's something you're hoping to learn or hear about entrepreneurship, leave a comment, and we'll try to get to it. With that, let's say hello to our guests. Guy Kawasaki is the chief evangelist of Canva, an online graphic design tool that I use every single day. Formerly advisor to the CEO of Motorola and chief evangelist of Apple, he's written 13 books, including The Art of Social Media, Power Tips for Power Users, The Art of the Start, What the Plus, Google Plus for the Rest of Us, and Enchantment, The Art of Changing Hearts, Minds, and Actions. Hello, Guy, and welcome to the show.
Hi. Thank you for having me, Mike.
My pleasure. And then we have Mia Voss. She's a professional show host, interviewer, and video content brand host. She's produced and appeared in over 300 programs on YouTube, and I have been fortunate enough to have been her guest on multiple occasions. Her energized interview style brings out the best in her guests, engages and entertains the audience, and always provides infotainment. Hello, Mia, and welcome to the show.
Brother Mike Allton, how are you?
Fantastic. Good to have you here.
Thank you. Congrats, by the way. First show.
Thank you very much. And then finally, let me introduce Kenneth Manesse Sr., who is a micro-entrepreneur specialist with over 25 years of business experience. He's provided help to small business owners and organizations to implement sustainable, positive transformation. And his approach with CEOs, executives, managers, professionals, and startup entrepreneurs gets them to realize personal success and profitability and join the 5%. Hello, Ken, and welcome to the show.
Hey, Mike. How you doing? This is exciting. Glad to be here.
Thank you very much. Great. So now that we're all introduced, let's get to it. We'll start off in a round-robin format, giving you each a chance to take a swing at a question, and I'm sure by the end we will have abandoned all form and format. And throughout the time, certainly if there are questions from the audience, I'll be checking the comment tracker, and if any of you see one come up that you want to take a swing at, just let me know. So first, I'd love it if the audience, of course, could get to know each of you a little bit better as it relates to entrepreneurship. Can you tell us when it was that you first thought of yourself as an entrepreneur and what that meant to you? And Guy, we'll just start with you.
Yeah, so I don't have this great story that I had a lemonade stand at 9 and all that kind of stuff and delivered papers and all that. I had a really sort of normal, if there is such a thing as a normal, lower middle class upbringing. I probably really got hooked on the concept when I attended Stanford in Silicon Valley. And when you come to Silicon Valley from Honolulu, it's kind of an eye-opening experience. If you're from Hawaii, you think the top of the career in Hawaii would be you manage a hotel or you manage a retail store or something, and then you go to Hawaii and you see people running, you go to California and you see people running Intel and National Semiconductor and HP and all that, and like all your horizons open up. And so it's probably at Stanford that I decided I wanted to start a company and join the Silicon Valley thing.
Cool. Very cool. And Mia, how about you?
Dude, really? You're going to make me talk after Guy Kawasaki? I'm just going to sit here like, whatever he said. So I call myself an accidental entrepreneur, definitely. I think anything that I've done has just been like, oh, that might be a good idea. I was working full time. I started as an insurance agent when I was 18, and I actually loved that industry. I thought it was so fun. And then I moved to New York City and got kind of distracted by shiny bright lights, as you do when you're in your 20s. And then when I moved out to Colorado in '95, dabbled a little bit working in the architecture industry, more as more of an admin type of thing. And then this accidental job came together of me becoming a building inspector, which I still do, by the way. I remove the tiara and I put on a hard hat. Seriously. Yeah, guess that one, right, Guy? But that business they kept hiring me back. They're like, we know you're picky and you type fast. Why don't you come with us on these job sites and help us pick out flaws in buildings. And I started doing that in 2001. And finally in 2003, when I kept getting hired consistently, I was like, all right, this must be it. But I also figured out after the crash in 2009 that I really was just more a well-paid sort of employee, because I didn't have a business plan in place that actually worked while it wasn't working. So I was working my ass off, going to job sites and all these cool places, but I had a little bit of a business plan set up. So yeah, that was kind of when I knew I was an entrepreneur, is when I started getting hired consistently, if that makes sense.
Cool. All right. Ken?
Well, living in Southern California, it's all about catching waves. And not that I'm a surfer or even pretend to surf, but what ended up happening way back in the 80s, there was this huge wave that started. And I was just lucky enough to get on the wave. The wave was, at the time, auto detailing. And in Newport Beach, California, this guy opens up, look at Guy, he's laughing, he's what I'm talking about. This guy called Steve's Auto Detailing opens up right on PCH down in Newport Beach, and this huge wave starts. And I get this friend that gives me a call and says, hey, listen, I got this Honda Prelude. Now, if you can even remember what those Honda Prelude trunks were, they're about the size of, you know, maybe a small suitcase. So out of the back of his car, we started auto detailing. And that wave literally was the thing that kind of pushed me into entrepreneurship. And it was really at that time I was like, man, I really love this stuff. I really love doing this kind of work. And that was the beginning for me. And literally after a couple of years of getting that mobile auto detailing ship into a permanent location and really starting to see how business works, I got bit by the bug. So for me, it was that first wave that I caught. That's how I got started in this whole entrepreneurship. And then for the next 5 years, I tried to learn how to spell entrepreneurship. I mean, that's a hard word to spell, let's be honest.
More of those French words.
It's that EU that gets you every time, right?
Right. Now, it's interesting because the one thing I didn't hear any of you say was, well, I just went to Kickstarter and floated an idea and got $25,000, and that's how I started my business. So what do you think about that? I mean, that seems to be all the trend these days is, you know, come up with an idea and get some money before you have a real business. Do you think that's a good idea? Do you think that's a recipe for long-term success?
I think it's fantastic. I think Kickstarter and Indiegogo are great developments. It removes us. It democratizes fundraising. It's non-dilutive. It proves that people want to, you know, eat the dog food, not just invest in future dog food. And I think because of the lower cost of entrepreneurship with cloud-based computing, free tools, open source, social media, it's much easier and faster and cheaper to start a company. And for the several $100,000 you might need, Kickstarter and Indiegogo is a much better way for most people than venture capital.
Yeah, and I also believe that what Peter Drucker says, the purpose of a business is to create a customer. And on these platforms, you can immediately find out in the marketplace if this is a viable product or service. And before you empty your 401, borrow all the money from your relatives, you get an opportunity to really take a look at the marketplace and say, is this idea viable? And let's face it, if you can get people to say they're willing to pay for that, then you've got a customer started, and then it's just about the launch.
And I'll jump in on that too. I think the only caveat I would add, though, is I think that people just have to make sure that they've got the purpose down, because the only thing that I was kind of like, when you ask that question is I think that at times it can just seem, you don't really go through the pain of having skin in the game, so to speak. Mm-hmm. So I think you just have to make sure that you've really got your purpose down, or that you're like, okay, this is what I want to do. But I do also like the idea that you can fail without as much, losing your 401k and things like that. And on the other part of it too, I like is that with everybody else having skin in the game, they're watching you and they're like, hey, are you on the up and up? Are you doing this the right way? And they can give you good feedback on it too.
Yeah, no doubt. Now, Guy and Ken, you both mentioned some of the things that are different today. Like there's availability of cloud and other internet, social media things that are available to entrepreneurs. What do you think are some of the unique challenges that entrepreneurs face today that maybe they didn't face 10 or even 5 years ago?
I'll let my colleague go first. I need to think.
I'm gonna jump in. I think visibility. The same thing like I was just saying. You right now, you have this visibility, and so you can't. I actually got to talk before Guy. I'm sorry. I'm just gonna soak that up for a second. I gotta feel good. No, I think visibility is a lot. You have it has to have a lot more transparency. We didn't have that as much. So you could sort of fail quietly or without as much fanfare, except for the people around you. So I would say that's more than anything. You're kind of out there, sort of balls out a little bit more than it used to be when you could have this quiet thing. But on the flip side, you've got the bullhorn that you can use to just blast that out when you're doing really well.
And there's no doubt about it. You've got to be marketing in the times that we live in. And for any business to thrive in today's marketplace, you're going to have to not only consider, but make part of your plan social. I mean, Mike, you and I have talked, and we've gone at lengths with Zmot and why it is that people buy now, and more importantly, the landscape in which we get our information. We, actually find the product or service that is the right product or service. It's all about now who you know and who's got the product. Obviously, people still buy from people, so being social and having your social platform set up for success is key in these times that we live in.
Preach it.
Yeah, absolutely. Guy, are you there? We don't have a video feed.
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, okay.
I don't have anything valuable to add. I have meaningless crap I could add, but nothing valuable. I think my colleagues have covered it.
People's treasure, though, Guy. Just saying.
If I could only monetize meaningless crap.
Well, it's been said that what gets scheduled gets done, and I know Mia is fond of talking about GSD. So, what, if anything, do you do to keep focused and productive each day?
A lot of alcohol. It's really great. Just kidding. I say meditating. How about you guys? I start with that.
Well, I'm a fan of, if it's not in writing, it doesn't exist. So everything that I do is about capturing it first in writing. And for me, that's the start point for everything I do. A number of years ago, I was introduced to the idea that you plan the work and then work the plan. And if you don't have a plan in writing, there's nothing to work. You're just flying by the seat of your pants. It's about being very intentional, and for me, it's about being very purposeful with the work that I do. So for me, it's at the very beginning is you got to have it in writing. And I'm not talking about a business plan, because at the end of the day, a business plan you may need if you can prove that your business is profitable, but you need to be very strategic in marketing and also in your intentions each day about the work that you're doing. So that's my 2 cents.
I love strategic plans, and then having the process maps that go with it. I'm a huge nerd for process. That doesn't mean I'm always doing it, but I at least have it written out. I had to have a process for doing Google Hangouts because they were so intricate that having this process map that I could just do boom, boom, boom and get through them. Evernote's been awesome for me. And Mike, every time we've had those shows about tools, we loved it. Because everybody's got these different tools that you can use. Everybody's brain works differently, so it's good to hear what works for them. But Evernote I absolutely love, and I know you do.
Yeah, I'm in Evernote every day. Because blogging obviously is really important to me. So every idea that I have for a blog post, every idea I have for a marketing strategy, a campaign that I want to run, it all goes into Evernote and kind of evolves from there.
I hate to tell the 3 of you, but I'm just like the total opposite of all of you. I have nothing written down. I have no plan. I operate kind of totally ad hoc, and you know, after the third email from somebody, I finally get around and do it. And what keeps me on track at all is that I have 4 children, and 2 are in private school and 2 are in college, so that I know every day I have 4 tuitions, and that just keeps me
That's
on
called
track.
incentive plan, Guy.
That's right. That's right. When my kids are all gone, God help me, because you know I'm really not going to do anything.
That's funny. Well, you know, one of the things that people tell me every day that is I'm supposed to be reading. You know, I'm supposed to be reading articles, blogs, books. You know, what do you guys think about that? Are there particular entrepreneurs, at least you know, within that entrepreneurship field, that you like to read? Do you think that's a good idea?
I'll take a jump on that because a long time ago I was introduced to the idea that leaders are learners. And as soon as you stop learning, you stop leading. And so some 20 years ago, one of my coaches told me, listen, Ken, you need 3 things. You need to follow thought leaders. And that's one of the reasons why I started following Guy Kawasaki. And then he said, you need to talk to your mentors. And third, you need to hire a coach if you if you want to get some traction fast. So thought leaders, mentors, and coaches, and always be learning. That's for me one of the things that I'm just consumed with, and that is, what are thought leaders saying? What is Guy saying? And I follow his stuff. I mean, I want to be in the know. So. And then for me, mentors, people that are having success in my industry, in my field, I'm talking to them on a regular basis. And then if I ever get stuck or if I need to get to the next level, hire a coach. Those are the 3 things that I'm making sure I'm always doing.
Spend some money on yourself, right?
Yeah, best investment in town.
Hey, Guy, just to let you know, everybody on the Periscope says he's got Peg Fitzpatrick. He's going to be just fine. That's from Eileen Smith.
That's true.
That is very true.
I was going to say that. So, so much of my effort. So much of my efforts have to do with social media, and so much of my social media has to do with feeding the content monster. So every day I need to find a lot of good stories. So I am reading voraciously. I am reading, you know, my Facebook timeline, my Google Plus timeline. I have Alltop that's organized by specific topics. Almost everything NPR puts out, I think, is reshareable. So as a result of my need to feed the content monster, I am reading voraciously. That's all I ever do, really.
I read The Martian because of you, by the way.
Isn't that a great book?
That's amazing. They're putting out the movie too. But I remember that was last year. I think you were on the show and you're like, read The Martian. I'm like, boom. I got right into Amazon and read it.
I tell you, The Martian, no kidding. The Martian is I think that I enjoyed that book more than any other book in my life, really. I think, you know, I hate to tell, you know, Shakespeare and all these other people, but man, The Martian is the one that really.
That guy did it.
Hey, Guy,
that book.
Guy, for people who don't know, talk about Ape for a minute, because that's right on point for this show too.
Yeah, good point, Jay.
So Ape is a book that I wrote. It's called Author, Publisher, Entrepreneur. And it's basically, I self-published a couple books, and I learned so much about self-publishing that wasn't really out there documented. So with Sean Welch, we co-wrote a book about how to self-publish a book. Not just write it, not just publish it, but also market it. And it really helped a lot of people because, you know, the publishing business is very much in flux. Completely democratized also. Now you don't have to suck up to New York publishers. I mean, you can publish your own book. And that is a really great thing. I mean, that's like, you know, everybody has a printing press now. It's not just Gutenberg. It's a whole new world out there.
And Mike, just to piggyback on that, what Guy said, which at a 30,000-foot view, I started to learn very quick in business, and that is this. You know, I didn't have time to start the question with how. I really need to start the question with who. And like Guy said, when I started to question with how do I do this? How do I learn this? How do I figure this all out? And when I pivot my question started with who's already doing this? Who knows how to do this in this space? Who are the people that are finding success? And then start following them, or like when Guy put the book out, I was the very first one that asked to be part of the the tribe that was able to look at it and stuff like that, because I wanted to know what he had learned. I wanted to figure out, okay, he's already figured it out. He's already spent the time, energy, and effort. Now I can capitalize on that, and because of looking for the people who are in the industry that have already done that, I can find entrepreneurship and speed up a lot faster instead of trying to figure it all out. I just don't have time anymore. I mean, I'm 50 years old, but that's a different story altogether. But if I can figure out who first before how, it's a quicker way to success.
Yeah.
So Kenneth, seriously.
Yeah.
How do you figure out who, though? I mean, because there's a lot of people who are full of shit. And, nobody exactly says, I'm full of shit. Everybody says they're an expert. So how do you separate the experts from the full of shit people?
Yeah, isn't that a good one? First of all,
because I might be full of shit. I might have fooled you.
Well, to go back to the idea of thought leaders, mentors, and coaches, my mentors are the ones that have literally over the years have been the reason why I've found any success. I'm not the smartest person in this room. There's no doubt about it. What I like to say is the only grade I got straight A's in was kindergarten. So after that, it was all downhill. But I learned early on in entrepreneurship how to ask the right question. And how to ask the right question was, who is finding success in this, and who can I learn from, going back to leaders or learners. And knowing that thought leaders like yourself, and Guy, I consider you a thought leader because you have not only the knowledge, but you have the experience. And those two things, a lot of people have knowledge without experience. So they can, it's the kind of people that use the words, but they're in the wrong context. The people that have the experience are those that have the knowledge and the experience. So to answer your question, I look for those two things. Track record, obviously, the experience of people that have been in business, that know how business works, that are operating in business right now because things happen so fast and change happens so fast. The people that are still in business right now are, seeing the things that are happening, marketing, social, all those things. So for me, to answer your question, Guy, it's about experience and knowledge. I look for those two things.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I couldn't have written and published Ape last year as a first-time author. Who'd have bought it? They're buying it from somebody who's got a dozen books under his belt, and they're like, oh yeah, he obviously knows what he's talking about. So that makes sense.
I love enchantment.
Whether they're right or wrong.
Can I jump in on that too? The way I choose too, because a lot of people love to share things that are just based on it's kind of cute and, well, I just want to share it to get the attention of the influencer that's written the content. But what I go for is my A-list of people like you, Mike, and all of you guys. I love having okay, I'm following what you're doing. So I kind of go to my small team of people. I love their style that they have anyway. So if there's an influencer they're reading, Ifat Cohen, who I'm here with, I always follow what she shares. So it's a little bit of a cheating, but it's more like if these are what my friends and my influencers and my A-team people are reading, that's who I want to follow. And they don't have time for the bullshit. So they're going to be reading people that they love their content.
Right, and like I said before, that's exactly why we're here, because I know you guys know what you're talking about, and the audience wants to learn from us. It's that shortcut that Kenneth was talking about. Along those lines, Nicholas Cardo had a question. Let me see if I can bring it up here. He says, what are your primary marketing strategies for your online businesses? How are you acquiring new clients or customers?
Work in progress. WIP.
Well, I think it's all about the move, isn't it? I mean, if you're going to be in business, you're moving people, and if you're using social, the idea of social is about moving people. It's moving them from relational to the transactional, and that's what a lot of the things that we see that people are having success with social do, and that is they are not doing social, they're being social, and that process, I mean, you know, at the end of the day, people still buy from people. I mean, you know, so we buy from people we know, like, and trust. We're on social media platforms where it's, you know, following, again, the know, like, and trust, and those are the people we're going to buy from. So for me, it's really about, am I providing, and, you know, we can all go through this, are we providing value, right? I mean, that's one of the things about social. Are we, you know, giving something that is more than just our opinion, but based on our experience? Are we communicating, hey, listen, this does work. This book, Ape, is going to help you solve that problem. That's why you need to check it out, buy it. So that's, for me, how social works. It's about the move.
I think it's definitely also the authenticity that you bring. So if you're always being very clear about, you're not blowing smoke up anybody's ass, because I can say that, right, Mike? Because I just did. You're not, that you're always going to be very authentic, and that if you're a cheerleader for something, you're going to be really consistent about it. And then you do have the know, like, trust factor. I love that, though, moving from relationship to transactional. That is a little bit of a slippery slope. So I think there's also something to be said for always having your consistent message, or what it is that you do, and then you can kind of ebb and flow with what's popular. Like right now, we're doing Periscope, or we're using these different things. You have like trial and error just to see what works to get attention, get your message out there without being too promotional. That's a balance.
Guy, you have anything to add?
Yeah, well, you know, for me, the question started off with about, you know, getting customers and stuff, right? And for me, social media is just such the game changer, because it's basically fast and free, and it's everywhere, and it's also a meritocracy, because, you know, you could be like a Fortune 500 brand, and you really can't buy social media credibility. Now, don't get me wrong, you know, paying for Facebook promotion is effective, and obviously the deeper pocket can promote more, but unless you want to cross the line and start buying likes and followers, it's all about the quality of your posts. And I think that is a good thing, because, you know, I could never buy a Super Bowl commercial, but I bet you I can post better than most people who are running Super Bowl commercials. So that's why I love social media. I think it's such the great equalizer.
Yeah, that's an excellent point. Now, at SiteSell, you know, every one of our customers are entrepreneurs. They're all working hard to build a business for themselves and kind of transform their corner of the internet. So what final advice would you have for someone today, given the incredible amount of choices that we were just talking about, the opportunities people have to create and build and promote a business online?
That's a tough one. Okay, I'll take a swing at it. You know, at the end of the day, when we buy something and we take the money out of our pocket, that hard-earned dollar that we spent all week, you know, earning, we want to know that we're giving to somebody, or for a product or service that is really going to give us the benefits of that. And if you're going to launch out into business, the one thing that I say that you need to be an expert about is your buyer. And, you know, when you become an expert of your buyer, really knowing that your product or service really just fits them and really gives them value, really gives them something that is going to solve their problem, is really going to, at the end of the day, change their life, then you've done something with your life and your business that so many people hope for, and that is, to coin a phrase, ding the universe. You literally have done the work.
Dent, not ding. Dent.
Dent. Sorry, I'm an Android guy. Sorry. Anyways. Ding dang. Anyways, so, you know, it's really about, your business is not about you. It's about your customers, about solving their problems, about giving them benefits. And at the end of the day, if you become an expert on your buyers and really know them and can really solve their problem and give them a huge amount of value, your products give the benefits that you say that you do, then you can really do something in this space of entrepreneurship that can not only benefit you and your family and your lifestyle and leave a legacy, but at the end of the day, really cause people to say, you know what, Mike Allton has the products and the services that are genuine, authentic, and really do work. And I recommend that people go to SiteSell and start there, because that, at the end of the day, is what this is about. And you've done your homework, Mike. We know that. We've talked about that. And more importantly, we know that the product is going to do and deliver on its promise. So that's, for me, what I see it as.
Boom. I like that.
Yeah, Guy, anything to add there?
No, I don't know, you know, what else can I say? I think it's all about empowering people. That, you know, that's what I want to do. That's why I live. So I want to empower people with my writing, my books, my presentations, and you know, we'll let everything else get sorted out at the end. But that's what I do.
So I'll go on a take of what Kenneth said and make it even more simple. I think if you can figure out what lights you up, I mean, figuring out that I had to have fun in everything that I do really made my life a lot easier in what I do. And then if you can match up what lights you up and what's your big why with a pain point or something you solve for other people, you're winning. I mean, that's my boiled down, dumbed down version of it. So.
Great. No, that's fantastic tips from everyone. So, you know, what I'd like for each of you to do is just share real quick before we leave what it is that you're working on today, you know, and where people can find you, what they should go do. And Guy, why don't you go first?
Yeah, so right now I'm the chief evangelist of a company called Canva out of Sydney, Australia. It is an online graphics design service. So think of it as a fast, free, and easy version of Photoshop. Basically, we've created all the kinds of templates and designs in advance. And you know, when I started my career in the Macintosh division, I was trying to democratize computing. And now I'm going to end my career democratizing design. So I want to enable people to create great designs quickly and cheaply. That's what I do.
It really is awesome. And yeah, I mean, you can look at this show, this whole series. Every graphic I made with Canva, and I'm not a graphic.
Oh, really? Cool.
Oh, yeah, every graphic. So, because yeah, you put me in front of Photoshop, it'd be 3 days later, and it wouldn't get any better.
Canva was made for you and me, Mike.
Yes, it was. Thank you, Melanie.
Right.
Ken, final thoughts?
You know, it was interesting. I was sitting here listening to Guy a minute ago, and going back to this thought about, you know, leaders or learners and stuff. One of the things I heard Guy say, and it was interesting because when I think of leaders, here's the thing that I recognize in leaders, and that is that they have the ability to inspire you. And it was interesting, as Guy was kind of talking, he talked about that. And so if people are not following God, obviously they need to, but it's interesting that he said that, you know, he looks to do just that, figure out ways to inspire more, to help more people, and those are the kind of people that you really want to, you know, have as a thought leader, have as a mentor, you know, hire as a coach, because they're the people that are going to invest in you, and that's important for any business. You know, for me, I didn't know a lot about entrepreneurship. I shared that I caught a wave, but hey, let's face it. You know, at the time I was young, I was, you know, just 18 years old. I really didn't understand business. I didn't even understand what was happening. It was happening so fast. And now, you know, fast forward 30 years, having 5 different businesses and 4 different industries, I'm starting to see that for the first time, now at 50, how business works. And to me, that's the key. You know, so many people get into the driver's seat and think they are it. You know, turn on the radio, get the window down, you know, look at me, and I'm an entrepreneur. And one of the things that happened to me, and again, is my story, was that I got in the driver's seat too soon, and I really didn't understand how business worked. I was focusing on marketing, what we call the 2 big gauges, the marketing, the profit growth, kind of like your RPMs and your miles per hour. But I didn't know about the other 5 gauges that for me were more important. And if anybody's had kids and have taught their kids how to drive, you're going to get the telephone. Hey, Dad, the car doesn't start. It's not moving. It's making these weird sounds. That was my big aha, because I realized then that how business works, those 5 other gauges, and if you think about your car, the 5 gauges that really are going to help you get your destination, your gas gauge, your water gauge, your oil gauge, your alternate gauge, all those things are really the 5 things that are more important. And what we've seen now is over the last 20 years that entrepreneurs that understand how business works, they understand the 5 things, we call them the 5 mindsets, they're the ones that join the 5% faster. So this is what I do now. I help entrepreneurs understand strategic, systemic, inspirational, duplication, and servant style leadership so that their business can not just start but thrive. At the end of the day, Mike, 70% of our economy is ran from micro entrepreneurs that have 1 to 5 employees. And for a lot of entrepreneurs, they kind of get stuck there. They want to get to the next level, but they're stuck there. So we help them transition out of the micro into a small business so that if you want to have 100 or 500 employees, you can make that shift. So that's what I've been doing, and that's what I love. And I also love Canva because we use that for all of our clients and for everything I do too, because again, I'm not the smartest person in the room and I don't have time to learn Photoshop either. So I love the product, Guy. Good job.
Thank you. I didn't mean to turn this into a Canva commercial.
That's okay.
Well, we're all Canvangelas, Guy.
That's right.
Thank you.
So Mia, what are you working on, and where can people find you?
I am working on 3 things. So as you guys know, I'm doing videos based on doing 2 years of shows. So I'm putting together short, fun interview style videos for clients who are afraid to get in front of the camera, because that's the #1 fear is speaking in front of a crowd. Version of that is video. And then I'm also helping people set up their own broadcast hour with the How to Give Great Video product, which is fun. And then speaking of 50, so as part of my 50 in 2015 right here, I am doing Mia on the Go. So I'm launching a new website, which is Mia on the Go. I'm spending a month down here in Austin, eating and drinking my way through Austin and having kind of experiential adventures. And I'll be putting out interviews and periscopes for the people that I talk with. And then I did Italy for 3 weeks about 2 months ago, and that was fun. And I think I'm going to La Jolla. So I'm doing an RV trip from Denver to Toronto, and it's just Mia on the go. So that's
it. But you're not actually in Greece now.
I'm not actually in Greece, but what was fun is I was able to create a product that I can take with me, because I can do videos for clients using Google Hangouts, so I can be Mia on the go and still make my money, because Mama loves shoes. You like that?
Hey, Mike, can I just say something?
Yeah.
It's I know we're obviously here on for SiteSell, but what Mia said was so important. And if people didn't hear that, and that is that marketing in the times that we live in, video is so important. And if somebody's struggling with that, reach out to Mia. She's got a handle on that, man. She really understands it. She gets it. And more importantly, I've done some work on the backside of some stuff, and I've seen Mia work and worked with some of the stuff that she's done. And that is important for business, to get out there. Kind of like what Guy was saying, the C-suite is no longer behind the curtain or up in an ivory tower. It's being social. It's being attainable, and video does that. So for those entrepreneurs that are thinking about what step they need to go with social, contact Mia. I mean, it's important for business. It really is.
Thank you, brother. Thank you, brother, man. And
Can I give a tip on top of that tip?
Yeah.
So my tip on top of that tip is, if you're gonna do video, be sure you upload it natively to Facebook. Don't just upload it to YouTube and embed your YouTube video in Facebook. You should upload natively. You're disagreeing?
No, I'm like preach on it, and I love it. It counts as a view after 3 seconds, Guy. No, I'm not. Why would I?
So my experience is that if you upload a video to Facebook natively versus embed the same video via YouTube, it's like 4 or 5 times better in terms of reach if you upload natively.
It is, and I'll tip on the tip. You also should upload it to your business page, and then you can add a call to action on it, and then share it to your personal page. Boom. Good tip.
I don't have a personal page.
Honey, you're Guy Kawasaki. Like, really. Keep your own rules. Come on. That's awesome.
Cool. Well, this has been fantastic. I want to, I mean, that's it for the show. I want to humbly thank you guys, Guy, Mia, Ken. You've been so generous in sharing your time and your wisdom. And I also want to thank everyone in the audience for listening, and I hope you've learned as much as I have. And I want to just invite you to join us next Monday at 12 Eastern, when I'm going to be here with Damian Farnworth, Wade Harmon, and Kevin Lee to talk about one of my favorite topics, writing and blogging. All right?
Hey, and Bain wants to say goodbye too, so I do.
I love it so much. Well done.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, bye.
Bye.